Good morning guys and welcome to the show. Today we're going to take a look at the accessories for Nakamichi's NDS2160 DSP. That is the add-on Bluetooth dongle, the NDS-10B, and the controller, which is the AC2. For those of you that missed part 1, make sure you go back and watch that because you'll learn a lot about the DSP, how it functions, and what it does that will take you and get you ready to install these two add-ons for it. First up, the AC2 remote control. In the box, you'll find your instruction manual, the remote itself. It is an attached cable with a standard phone style end on one end. It does come with a piece of plastic to cover it up from scratches. For mounting, it comes with a piece of Velcro along with 2 screws. The 2 screws are for the metal plate located on the back. To remove that, there's a screw on the top and a screw on the bottom. Once removed, give it a little shake and the metal panel will come off. As you can see, it has these 2 holes here to mount it to whatever it is you want. The back does have the panel recessed in. To attach this to your DSP, on the RCA or aux output side, you'll notice where it says controller. Plug it in. Once plugged in, you have your volume control here, subwoofer level, and your preset located down here. You have your big volume knob that controls your main volume. If you tap it once, it will mute the system. If you tap and hold, it will change your source. Your source is also located here at the top next to the main volume. Sources that you have the option to use is aux, which is your RCA inputs, the 6 channels, the SP diff, the high level, and phone. Phone is only available if you add in the NDS-10B. You have your memory, preset 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can be selected. When you pick one, press the main volume, it will load itself up, and then once it's ready, it'll go back to the main screen, and now it will show you here that preset memory 3 has been selected. Let's open up the Bluetooth dongle. Inside the box, you'll find a bag and some mounting material. Just like the AC2, it comes with Velcro and 2 screws. You get an instruction manual and the unit itself. There is a blue light located inside of this that tells you that it is on and whether or not it is pairing. To attach it to your DSP, go to your main connection side where your power plug is, and next to your optical input, click it in place. The instruction manual for the Bluetooth dongle, it does 2 things. 1, it'll stream audio. 2, it'll allow you to control the DSP from your phone. So just like the desktop app, which we looked at in the previous video, you can do a lot of the same features, if not all the same features, with the phone. Though it's on a phone, so it is a smaller screen, I still like to use the desktop app for the big setup, but doing some small tweaks, this is perfect. Let's take a look at the app. Once you're in your phone's app store, type in Nakamichi, but then next to it, type in the model of the DSP. That's important because there's several different apps available to you. In this case, we'll type in 6120 and hit search. And it'll come up with the 6120. If you have a problem where the Bluetooth isn't connecting or something is not functioning, there's going to be different apps like you see here, depending on which DSP you have. Launch your 6120 app. It will synchronize up. And as you can see here, we now have our main volume located here on the left. Next to that is going to be our subwoofer level. When connecting your subwoofer to this guy here, subwoofer control, this one right here, is for channels 11 and 12. None of the other channels. If you're hooking this up like we're going to show you in a little bit, we're going to be using outputs 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 11 and 12 because we are going to be doing a active tweeter, mid, and subwoofer. You also have a 3-band basic or global EQ. So if you want to add in just a little bit more treble, a little more mid, or a little bit more low end, you can do this right here from the front. You also on the bottom of the phone have your EQ presets. If you tap one, it will synchronize up just like it did when we were using the AC2. If you saw in the first video where we talked about making a preset for like a car dealership, this would be an easy way to do that without having to plug in a laptop. If you select advanced settings, settings, if you'll notice across the bottom here, this is where you see delay, output, EQ, and the mixer. Right now delay is on and it's for all 12 channels. We'll touch back on that once we get into the car. When we go to output, here's your crossover. You have your channel level control here. You can select what channel you want across the bottom, and then you can adjust your crossover. Select type, we'll select Linkwix-Riley, select crossover. We want 3500, select sure, and then select tap and select your slope. If you don't need the low pass filter, if you grab the slope and select off, that'll negate that. Next up is going to be your EQ. This is going to be the EQ for the channel that is selected, just like in the crossover. So you have 1, 2, 3, and you can select there. If you scroll to the left, you can pick your band. You also notice you have the reset EQ, bypass EQ, and parametric mode. If you tap on the frequency you're adjusting, you can adjust your Q here. And if you tap on the bottom, you can adjust your frequency. Next up is mixer, and the full mixer is located here. In this case, we're in aux. If we are going to be using channels 1 as just a tweeter, we want to make sure we turn off aux 3 and aux 5. The same would be true if we went to aux 2. We want to make sure that aux 4 and aux 6 are off. In the top right corner of the app, you'll notice 3 dots. If you tap those, you can recall factory settings, share effect, save effect, as well as find out about your unit, such as device version and software information. There's a green power button located next to those 3 dots. If that is lit up red, it is not connected. If you select the arrow in the top left, that'll take you back to your main home page. Underneath the name Nakamichi, you'll see where it says aux right now. If we select that, it'll bring up your high-level, auxiliary, SPDIF, Bluetooth, and cancel. That way you can change what source you're on. The next step is to get this ready to go into the car. To do that, like I said, it is easier to do it from the software itself. We need to go into the mixer. Channel 1 is where we want to spend our time. You'll notice here at the top of the page it says aux. That's what we're going to be using. Channel 1 is going to be fed by our aux 1 input. That is driver's front. Channel 2 is going to be fed by aux 2, which is passenger front. Channel 3 is going to be our mid bass, and that is going to be fed off of aux 1 input. We want to turn off aux 3 and aux 5. Channel 4 is going to be fed off of aux 2, so turn off 4 and 6. Come over to channel 11, which is going to be our subwoofer, and that is going to be fed off of aux 5, so we want to shut off 1 and 3. Channel 12 is aux 6, so we will shut off 4 and 2. With that done, select EQ. Now in the previous video we talked about delay. You need to know your delay or distance from your head to the speaker, and we have that information. The driver's front tweeter is 33 inches away from the driver. The mid bass is 40, the passenger front tweeter is 52, and the passenger mid bass is 56. Our subwoofer is 66. 66 is going to be the farthest speaker from our head. We need to do some math. We need to subtract each one of these numbers from 66. First up would be our tweeter. 66 minus 33 is going to give us 33. I like to write it down and circle it. 66 minus 40 going to give us 26. 66 minus 66 is 0. That is going to be our 0 point, is 1410. If we come back over to our software on this side here, you'll notice where it says delay units. You want to select inches. Come back over to channel 1, type in 33, channel 2, type in 14, channel 3 is going to be 26, channel 4 is going to be 10, and 11 and 12 are going to stay 0. Go back to channel 1. On this side of our application is where our crossovers are. Our frequency for this needs to be 3500 Hertz, 24 dB, and a Linkwix-Riley. We're not going to be using a low pass on this, so we've just turned it to off. You can either link channel 2 2 to channel 1. For channel 3, our mid bass, we're going to be using a bandpass channel. That means we're going to be using a low pass and a high pass. The low pass point is going to be the 3500 that our tweeter is rolling off at, and we will match that with a 24 dB Linkwix-Riley crossover. And then our high pass filter is going to be 80 Hertz, 24 dB Linkwix-Riley. Channel 4 has to match that. Heading over to 11 and 12. If you were curious if you want to link them, just select the 2 circles in the bottom of the page here and they will turn green. We do not need a high pass crossover, so we'll turn that off. However, if you want to make a subsonic filter, that's where you could make it. You'll notice over here on the left side of the page, we now have a roll-off that can be our subsonic filter. Add in our low-pass filter, 80 Hertz, 24 dB. The next step is saving it. You've just done this amount of work. You want to make sure that it stays and you don't lose it. Come up to the top, select memory, select save as machine preset, and it'll give you your drop-down panel. In this case, we have G35 is what we want to call it. If you want to change it, just double click, select OK, and that'll save this as a preset that we can adjust from the phone app or the controller. Now if we'd like to save it into the laptop, so if something bad is, could happen, this, who knows, but if you want to save it into the computer, go back up to memory, select save as PC preset, and now you can type in a file name here and save it, and that way if you need to go back to it, you can. So for the next part of this, we're going to be connecting it up in the lab. The lab is Fernando's G35, where we have a test bench located in the back that allows us to plug in things like amplifiers and DSPs and test them inside his car. RCA is coming from the radio up front for channels 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. Then we have our power distribution located over here, and then this will turn on our amplifiers for us. We will be plugging in the Bluetooth dongle so that we can control the subwoofer level from here. Once it's installed, the first thing we want to do is check our Bluetooth connectivity. We basically play with everything in the back here using the smartphone app and turn it up and down. Subwoofer level. This is a great feature if you're trying to demo it outside of the car. We want to actually hop in the car and, well, listen to it inside the car, not out here. For that, we're going to go back into the phone app and we're going to select the aux input, which is going to take us to the radio that we have installed in the dash. We'll put the subwoofer back in the trunk, we'll plug it back into the computer, talk a little bit about the EQ. This has a 31 band EQ for all the channels, meaning all 12 channels. You can use that linking feature like we showed you with 11 and 12 if you just like to link and do a universal tune or a global tune, so you don't want to, do left, do right. But if you are wanting to do a full tune, a full equalization I should say, you want to have some form of an RTA, handheld RTA, a phone, something with a microphone that will allow you to see what is playing through the car, meaning what sound is coming out of the door. And then you're going to tune appropriately. If you look at the software here, is that it shows you there's only 6 or 7 bands here that we really need to play with, because as you switch through the channels, it shows you that I only need to work with these guys right here. And the nice thing is because this is parametric, I can move them around wherever I like. I don't have to leave them in order, and I can tap up with the arrow keys to set them back to flat, or I can come into here and type in 0 and it will do it for me. To tune, what we recommend using is mono pink noise. This stuff right here. Start with the passenger side first. In this case, we would start with channel 2, which is the passenger tweeter. If you come into the software, you can mute the channels you're not going to need. In this case, that would be 1, 3, 4, 11, and 12. If you turn it back up, all you hear is that tweeter playing. We'd tune this tweeter, then we'd tune that tweeter, we'd tune this mid bass, and we'd tune that mid bass, and group them together and see what we get out. So you'd hear something like this. So that would be 2 and 4 playing. Turn those off, compare them to 1 and 3, and so on and so forth until we have the sound that is desired. Now if you're going to try to use your ear to do this, you might want to stick with doing that global EQ to where you just click on and link all of them together. It's a little bit easier to do it by ear that way. I would strongly recommend though using some form of an RTA. You'll get a much better result. Once you have the tune done, naturally you'll want to sit in your car and take a listen to it. You want to check your staging, make sure that you have a nice strong center image, make sure that there's no echoing between left and right, or you're just going to want to play some music and see how it sounds. That's up to you. There again, there is no, I mean there is, but it's your car. Have fun, play with it, do your own thing. If you're trying to get a very specific sound, well, it might take a little bit longer. You might have to go back at this a few times. At the end of the day, all of this should lead to one thing: playing music and making it sound really good. Play some music, Fernando. Alright guys, well we hope you enjoyed this part 2 to the Nakamichi NDS2160 12 channel DSP. Fernando, if you'll please.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.